Since we talking about the 50th anniversary of hip hop, let's get into The Boss. Over 30 years ago, she had a #1 single, and this is her recipe of having a #1 single. One of her first lines in the hip hop song Deeper, she does an interpolation of another song that was a #1 song a year before. And that #1 song was by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it was called Under the Bridge. Check it out. This was her first single off her debut album, Born Gangsters, and it was actually produced by Def Jef. Now, Deeper was her most successful single. It hit #1 on Billboard Hot Rap Singles. It peaked at number 65 on Billboard Hot 100, and it peaked at number 28 on Billboard R&B Singles. Now, this song had the sample of I'm Gonna Love You Just a Little More, Baby by Barry White, and that song was made in 1973. Now, the interpolation that she did off the Red Hot Chili Peppers, that was the song that was released a year before her song was released in March the 2nd of 1992, and that song was called Under the Bridge, and that was from their album, one of their successful albums called Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and that was released in 1991 under the Warner Brothers. Now, Under the Bridge, that song was #1 in many countries, and it was 6-time platinum by the RIAA. And there you have it. By The Boss being a new artist, she grabbed a phrase from a song that was worldwide. She made that one of the first lyrics in the song, and then she went in, because at the time, The Boss was one of the hardest female lyricists out at the time, no question. And that's why Russell Simmons had to get her on Def Jam West, and the rest is history. And you know, by the tight production by Def Jef, and that interpolation of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that song was still in rotation a whole year later, it was a no-brainer for her song to constantly hit the charts and climb the charts and finally hit #1. Now, Def Jef is going to talk about his first time meeting with The Boss, and listen to him as he breaks it down on how everything transpired between him and The Boss. Check it out.
So I ended up meeting her. She called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, Rodney gave me your number and I need you to come hear me rap now because I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow." And I was like, "Where you at?" She was like, "Compton." So I ended up going down. I took one of my buddies with me and went down, and I went to her hotel room and she rapped for me. After she spit a rhyme, I don't even think she finished it. She said that she wasn't gonna have some place to go, or I don't really quite know the situation. I brought her and her partner D back to my crib and said, "Y'all can stay with me. Let's make some music." Because she was so dope at the time.
Did you have a studio set up?
Had a studio set up in the house. I had a 4-track, because back then we didn't have studios like we had now.
Was it a real?
It was a 4-track.
Okay.
And my drum machine, and you know.
So you had to hook up.
So I had to hook up in the crib, and not enough to put music out. It was just a demo, but I'm explaining for people that don't realize, because now, to get into the studio, you know, everybody has studios. Mm-hmm. So what happened was, we worked for a couple of weeks together, and she didn't like any of my beats. She was like, "Nigga, I need that gangster shit." She out here looking for Eazy-E and NWA, and she runs into Def Jef, Black to the Future with the power beads on, and, you know. And so we ended up working on music, and nothing clicked, right?
Yeah.
She went back to Detroit. She ended up going back to Detroit. I'd lost contact with her. Then I saw her. I heard her on AMG's song, "My Sister's a Bitch." I was like, "That's that girl. She was dope." I wasn't even tight. I was just like, I'm glad she got it popping, because I always thought she was dope. I ran into her at a convention. Back then, again, no internet. You lose people's numbers. I ran into her. She had doogie braids and a beeper, and she had bread. She was on Def Jam. She was like, "I fuck with you, my nigga. I want you to work on my album." And she called Russell Simmons. It was like, "I'm sitting here with my man Def Jef." Her album was done, by the way. She said, "I'm sitting here with my boy Def Jam." Get him on the phone, and then I talked to Russell briefly. He asked what I charge a track, asked for the PO, and we went in the studio, and Deeper was one of the songs that came out.
Like $90,000.
Right. Something like that back then. Yeah, the good old times. And so I always give her props, because when she saw me, she was like, "Yo, I ain't forget what you did. You know, I didn't forget what you did. Let's rock." And then and I ended up doing a few songs on that album and getting the first single.